feel like it's a science experiment. That's pretty cool. Good morning. Please find your seat and prepare yourself for this morning's service. We have a special announcement by Jonathan White. Jonathan?
First, is it working? Good. I apologize for the redundancy. I really am here to draw attention to the announcement in the order of service about CYRE, but we've discussed it and decided that it's better to hear a voice and see a face asking you just to look at it and consider as we are starting to work back towards figuring out what we can do with our kids and our youth in the fall and in the coming months. The one roadblock we're sort of stuck with is who we have that is volunteering. So the whole program, depends on volunteers to do all sorts of things, just from even kid supervision and a big thing we're looking for is idea people. Anybody what things we can do to engage kids in new and in creative ways. Sometimes that's the hardest part. But up here, want to make a call to anyone who's interested in working with our kids. There's no commitment required, and no ages. It can be, if you want to work with little ones or you want to work with big ones or you want to do just this little thing or you're just here for an emergency as a backup. We do need backup folks to watch little ones in our nursery. But the big thing is church policy. Everyone who does this has to be background checked. And so we're trying to get a master sort of background check list of folks that we can call on. And if you're interested in just making contact with us and possibly going through that background check so that we can then kind of work together, see me, talk to me after the service. I have a place where you can sign and put a name and a phone number. Again, it's no commitment. We're just trying to work on who we have before we can work any further. But thank y'all thanks for all summer, the patience of welcoming these kids into the service and being with us. Hope it's been good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Phil Turner. I'm really not this tall. I'm standing on a platform. Thought it would help my ego today. I'm your service leader today. To those of you who are with us in the sanctuary, need to advise you that the service is being streamed. Also, we have a pre and post Zoom event that streams the service as part of it. Now, please make sure that you read the announcements in your printed order of service. Also, especially be sure to read the weekly events that are emailed each Thursday, as well as the Unigram monthly and, of course, the website. Please practice the COVID restrictions that are currently in place per board-approved guidelines. Our current guidelines are that we practice social distancing and that wearing a mask is highly recommended. Our flowers today have been provided from the natural floral beauty of Jessica Cross's garden. Thank you, Jessica. And now let us center ourselves for service. Please silence all electronic devices as we listen to the prelude.
I'm going to do a piece this morning that's you will recognize if you not recognize the group that did it. This was done by the Beatles back in 1965 by John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and it's called In My Life. The words go something like this. There are places I will remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, and some not even for the better. Some have gone, and some remain. There are places that had their moments. With lovers and friends, I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. But in my life, I've loved them all. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before, I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love them more.
Thank you, Richard. Please stand and join with me in the congregational covenant as found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Our minister is Reverend Stephen Robinson, and on those Sundays, like today, when Stephen is not in the pulpit, we present a variety of speakers from the congregation or from a wider community. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we stand on the side of love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We especially invite families and young children and have a nursery. We are officially recognized by the UUA as a welcoming congregation, which means we also embrace LGBTQ+ individuals. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so that we may know each other better. Board members wear green name tags, and they always welcome your comments, questions, and suggestions. Would the members of our Board of Trustees please stand now so that you may be recognized? Thank you. At this time, we would also like to recognize anyone visiting us on behalf of the Atlantic Institute. Is anybody here from the Atlantic Institute today? Okay. We would also like to recognize any other guests or visitors who are with us today. Visitors, please fill out a visitor card and put it in the collection plate. There should be one in the back of the chair in front of you. This information will enable us to send you our newsletter and emails about events. We promise we don't visit uninvited. Now, visitors, if you're willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you're from, or if you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them and wait for the microphone that Mark is going to bring around. Visitors.
Good morning, everybody. A friend of mine, Amanda Martin, is here. She used to live in Columbia, but she can say a few words.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. I lived here 20 years ago, and I used to come to the UU. I'm friends with Sarah Williams and Judy Turnipseed and Tom and a handful of other people. Some of you might know Heather McCallman, a good friend of hers. And it's just nice to be back. When I lived here, I served as the director of the Carolina Peace Resource Center, and I've spent the past 9 years in Bolivia, and now I'm in transition back in the U.S. for a while. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Susan Sharp. I'm Barbara's daughter, and these are my granddaughters and Barbara's great-granddaughters. Smith, right here. Say hey. You say hey? Sir, you want to say hey?
Hey.
That's Surrey. And you want to say hey? Don't touch it. Okay.
Thank you, Susan. Welcome. Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Lane Steele. I visited for the first time last week and enjoyed the service very much. And so this week I brought my wife, Carol, and my kid, Sam, to check out the service as well. I'm happy to be here. Thanks. You want to say hi?
Hi, Alexis.
Say hi.
Say hi.
Hey, I'm Sam.
I'm Sam.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Elle Hambright. This is my first time visiting. I'm from North Carolina, but I've lived in Columbia since going to USC, so hi. Oh, it's Elle.
Elle.
Yeah.
Nice to have you with us.
Hi, I'm introducing my brother Aaron. He's visiting us today from Spartanburg, and he wanted to come meet everybody and say hello.
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 So, I'm Aaron. I live in the upstate. I went to Brooklyn Casey, so kind of familiar with Columbia. So just visiting for the day.
Welcome.
Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, Mark. Today's cello slater is Jennifer Slater, who will introduce herself.
My name is Jennifer Slater. On my father's side of the family are firefighters, 3 generations of serving in the historic London Fire Brigade. I was born in a fire station. So I was evacuated to the countryside during some of the bombing in the Blitz of World War II. My interests include playing the dulcimer, swimming, knitting, music, concerts, opera, and Sesame Street programs. My most favorite movie is Zorba the Greek. I love it because it shows that whenever all is lost and there is so much pain, you can always respond with the dance of life. I came to UU in 1996. I felt the acceptance and kindness immediately, and feel that it is my home. And when the reading of the covenant and benediction said, there is the Spirit, and it stirs my soul. And since I'm in the South now, I've learned to say, cheerio, y'all.
Okay, cheerio, y'all. Man, I don't know if I can top that.
Richard, I need to say one thing. Since I lit the chalice, Spirit of light and life come unto us. You're on.
My turn now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, anyhow, I'm going to do a piece now that I wrote not long ago, and I didn't write it, Barbara, particularly for this occasion, but I think it works. And it's called Time Will Tell. Time has told so many stories, I can't recount them all. And so I realize I have to choose the ones to share with you. Once I have them sorted, stories will begin. Memories floating slowly by, prompting sad, regretful tears. Uninvited memories, haunting dreams. Regretfully displayed or mercifully hidden. Palettes of emotions, often unbidden. Guilt or regret, hidden deep inside. Then the joy returns at last. Pleasant memories of my past. Life is bright and beautiful again. Memories popping up like corks in a bottle, comforting dreams that once remained hidden. Morning breaks, and never too soon. Time has passed, and now I'm satisfied that all is not so dark and dreary. Stories mount as sweet companions to my need for the happiness I seek. Now I have them sorted. Stories will begin. And thank you. And before Phil does his introduction of Barbara, I have a little introductory ditty I'm going to sing. I'm going to, sing and play. I like to do things with Barbara. I like to accompany her when she goes and does stuff. So this is something called, well, just listen to what it's called. Articulate and sunny, and winsome, witty yet funny. A style and manner all her own, that's our Barbara B. Stories are for telling, she tells them all so well. Her characters always are her own, that's our Barbara B. So as you sit there spellbound and wish she'd do one more round, she'll always leave you wanting more. That's our Barbara B.
Oh, gosh. Wow, it's going to be tough to follow that one. It's my great pleasure to introduce Barbara Bates Smith. Barbara is an Alabama native. She attended the University of Alabama. She says she grabbed a great husband for a 65-year marriage there. A son was born in Birmingham, another in Berlin, Germany, a daughter in Rochester, Minnesota, who is Susan Sharp. Drawing her to Columbia as a widow in 2019. At age 30, Barbara first stepped curiously on stage, and at 60, finding herself in her own off-Broadway show, Ivy Row, from a Lee Smith novel. Moving from Lakeland, Florida to the North Carolina mountains enabled tours, adding more shows, plus musician tour manager Jeff Stevens. During the pandemic, she's written a memoir, Much Ado About 90, and a handbook, Story Circles. Happen to have one. Giving up a 3-year circle at an Asheville mission, she eagerly started one at UUCC. And she's happy to announce Ivy Row is in its 33rd year and now resuming. What's Your Story is her sermon topic. Why your story and the sharing of it is especially important in these troubled times and what we can do about it. This is what Barbara submitted, but I'd like to add that Barbara Bates Smith is a very special person in my life and also in the lives of many others in our congregation. Barbara, opening words, please.
I'm supposed to say welcome, but I'm thanking you for giving me this new kind of opportunity. But since I'm kind of shaky, I'm going to also ask you to do something that I do with me so I won't feel so embarrassed doing it. I'm going to breathe in, and then I'm going to breathe out. Isn't that amazing? And I'm going to ask you to do it, to join me, and then I'll sort of know we're all together. Breathing in, I calm myself. Breathing out, I smile. Thank you. Well, I feel I can handle anything if I can breathe all right. And also if I have these great guys around to help me through this. Okay. Another thing I want to mention is, for thanks, is last Sunday was Laura's sermon. My topic is, what's your story? And you might remember if you were here, she gave hers, and it made an impact on all of us. I'll give you a little bit of mine in addition to what he said. I do come from Alabama. I picked up the banjo later. I used to sort of do what was expected of me. And now I follow my bliss. Not the, if it feels good, do it kind, but more the Joseph Campbell kind of heartfelt impulses. In fact, that's a good topic for story circles. I used to, now I. And it could be much simpler. I used to eat pancakes for breakfast, and now I eat waffles. But that's what we use sometime. Okay, so I do lead a story circle here. It's in its 3rd year, as he mentioned. And I would love to get some young people up here, and I'm going to, we can show these people, we can demonstrate how a story circle works. So I need, please consider yourself young, if you will take part, and then let's have some young people here. Okay, I'm coming down here, quiet, and remember to step down. And then, let's see, what do I do? Go here and hope somebody will come. Oh, please. What about Surrey? Missy? Pass the stick. Okay, well, I'll tell you how it would work. Oh, good, we have somebody. Good. You're feeling young today, right? Great. Okay, the way a story circle works is, it's just following the Native American custom of passing the stick, having a topic, and you talk about it when you have the stick and you pass it around. So let's make as much of a real circle as we can. And we'll use, what we'll talk about is, what's your name? What is our name, and how do we feel about it? So I'm going to start, and then I'm going to pass the stick all the way around. And I'm going to start with, my name is Barbara. And I never thought much about that name one way or another, but I noticed I loved it when friends would call me BB. I thought that was cute. And I had an uncle, and I just loved what he called me, but nobody else ever did, Skitten. So that's my name and how I feel about it. And I'll, let's see, where's something I can pass? Take this off? Is that all right?
My name is Deb. I was Debbie for most of my life, but my grandpa called me Whistlebritches. Okay, so it's
Say what your name is.
Sorry.
And how do you feel about it? Do you like your name?
Yeah.
And do you know anything about your name?
No.
No? Yeah. Okay. That's okay. Good. What's your name? No? Okay. My name is Susan, and I like it because I know I'm named after my grandmother.
Sam.
My name's Sam.
And how old?
How old?
Say, I'm Sam.
I'm Sam.
Okay. Say, I'm 2.
I'm 2.
Do you like your name? Okay. Hi, my name is Laura. I haven't thought much about my name, but my wife calls me Shwala, so it's a good sort of, nickname off of that, off of Laura. We gotta pass it.
Huh? Let me say, hey, I'm Rara. Tell them your name. You getting camera shy? Oh. This is Raleigh. She was named, she's got a couple different names. She calls herself Rara. Well, and I'm Adrian. And we named her after a couple of people in our family. I love you. Thank you, baby. Sit, sit.
Anything can happen in the story circle. Thank you so much, because now people can see how a story circle works. Everybody gets to talk. Okay, thank you so much. That was a good demonstration. Thank you. Oh. Supposed to replace this. Okay. All right, here's my lesson.
Here, Richard's going to do it.
I did something technical.
This point in our service, we have our candles of community. If you have a significant personal joy, sorrow, or concern you would like to have shared from this pulpit, please phone or email Andrea, who's our administrator, by noon on Friday. If you'd like to speak for yourself before the service begins, pick up one of the candles in the basket on the entry table and come forward. Speak briefly when requested. For those if you're on streaming, you'd like to have a candle lit, make sure that you text or email Andrea. Will those of you who have taken a candle please come forward at this time?
Hey, I'm Bethany and my husband Charles, and I have a candle of joy. My youngest son, who he is he's the one that gives me the most gray hair.
An explorer.
Yeah, he spent the summer in South Lake Tahoe. We got to visit him while he was there, and he recently spent a couple of weeks driving cross country to get back home. And I mean, I was really worried. I still worry all the time that, he might not live to see out of his 20s because of his choices. But I'm really glad that he's home and safe. And he's going to be starting back up in school again.
Yep. Thanks for the prayers, Joe.
Good morning. My name is Don Dodson, and I have a triple play joy. I want to wish happy birthday to 3 beautiful people who will be celebrating their birthday this week. My good friend, Ann Cargill, my sister, Pat Moore, and my bride, Carol. Amazingly, they're all going to be 39. And if you laughed, they're taking names.
Hi, I'm Jeanette, and I want to light this candle for us to send our good wishes and prayers to the Verns. Jim has been in the hospital for over a week now, and Ginny has been there pretty much every day, loyally sitting next to him. He's got some kind of issue that they're trying to figure out the solution to. In general, you know, he's okay. He's doing okay. But he has his ups and downs, so just keep them both in your minds and send your thoughts and prayers and good wishes. And if you want to text or call, I know that they would appreciate just having those good wishes.
I'm Sharon Matchett, and it's been so long since I've been here, I forgot to get a candle. But I wanted to mention my mother, who passed away May 20th at 103. And I appreciate all the support that I've gotten from different individuals at different times, because it was an interesting journey with her. But she did everything right at the end, and I was able to be with her. And the other is to bring you up to date about my daughter, Meredith Ellis, who is a breast cancer survivor. And I'm smiling behind the mask. She's also had COVID twice, but she is back at work this past week. And she's managing a store, and I can't see because my glasses keep fogging up. But thank you so much for the support with that, too. And keep all of your breast cancer people in your hearts, and all your cancer people, because it doesn't end just after they're clear of disease. It goes on in their emotions for a long, long time, and I had no idea. Lighting my virtual candle.
We light one final candle for those joys and concerns that remain silent in our hearts. To ponder these joys and concerns, let us pause for a moment of silent meditation. Thank you. This congregation contributes to Share the Plate, where half of our cash collection each Sunday goes to local charities, a way for us to give back to the community. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Justice 360. The mission of Justice 360 is to promote fairness, reliability, and transparency in the criminal justice system for individuals facing the death penalty and juveniles facing lengthy sentences in South Carolina. If contributing by check, please write Share the Plate on the memo, or you may make an online contribution. Those of you streaming may certainly contribute. You may find the link on the UCC website, uucolumbia.org, and as of last week, you now can use the QR code on the back of the order of service. Ushers, please come forward. We receive these gifts with gratitude and appreciation as it demonstrates that we are truly a giving community.
Now we're back to what's your story? Now, I know that many of you are way too busy to think about being in a story circle, which is what I lead and try to get people involved with. But some people have asked about maybe another kind of session that could be in the evening, since ours has been going for over 3 years. I mean, we're into the third year. And the one thing I'm thinking is that all of us, I know that we must be all interested in new members and in young people. And I just have a big hunch. A story circle here and there might fill the bill in some way, and I want to tell you about what I mean and see what you think about it. I just want to offer the notion. So I'm saying, let's just sense what one might be like. You might start and ask, how's this week been going for you so far? You might ask, anybody bring anything for show and tell? Could be my hand is healed, or sometimes we bring a cherished object. And a lot of times people bring a cherished object to hold and tell about. What other places have you lived? If you were in if there was going to be a movie about you, who would play you? Think about it. Is there any really sort of hot issue that's you'd like to sound off about a little bit? Okay, so that's sort of a very small sample of what one could be like. I know I claim to be an actress, and that's not exactly storytelling, but sometimes it sort of is, because the show I've been touring with for the past 33 years, Ivy Rowe, I adapted from a novel by Lee Smith. And it's a mountain woman's, it's the life story of a mountain woman told through letters. So there's more than one way to tell a story. And I would like to give you just a little sample from the first letter that's in here. September 14th, 1912. Dear Haneke, my teacher, Miss Brown, says you will be my pen friend, and I must write to you about my family and culture. My mama says I was born with the century, presently 12 years old. We grow near about all we eat, mostly corn, which will work you to death, especially now his dad is so poorly and has to lay down. So weakness has come upon him from the heart. Farming is pretty work, Daddy used to say. He'd be plowing, and he'd hold the plowed earth up next to his face. He loved how it smelled. And he'd say, don't this smell just like spring? Of all my brothers and sisters, I love Sylvania the bestest. Sometimes we sneak off and have our play parties. I am the Princess Lucia. Sylvania is Princess Melissa Clarissa. And our big sister Beulah used to play with us. Sometimes she'd be Miss Margaret White. Who knows where she got that name from? I take an interest in love because I want to be in love one day and write poems about it, like the ones in Miss Brown's book. Young Lochinvar, so daring in love and dauntless in war. So far, I've been kissed once by Oakley Fox when we was blackberry picking up on Pilgrim Knob, and we could not look at each other straight since. Oakley's not bad looking, but he ain't no Lochinvar neither. I remain your devoted pen friend, Ivy Rowe. Now, we're moving on. Let's see. And now, when I look out in this church setting, I'm able to recall a great interest in stories even before I thought about that. But this was in the Episcopal Church in Lakeland, Florida. And every Sunday, it would be brought a busload of cerebral palsy patients, and they would sit in a certain place, and we all noticed they were there, and it was fine. But we knew they must be able to hear, but could they speak? Well, we didn't know. And so they were ignored. So one Sunday I was sitting there looking around thinking, maybe the youth group here could take it as a project to go to their group home and get to know each one of these and then introduce them one at a time in the services they did. And it was a big deal. And the youth group, they called it Access. Okay. About a week or so later, I got a call asking me to come to the group home and sort of, let's see, have little weekly meetings where I would be the translator and letting them get to know each other better. I guess that was really my first story circle. And one of them had to point with his nose to a board that had the alphabet letters on it in order to communicate. That was one kind of early story interest. And then 1988 in Tampa was a big deal story thing. I was with Playmakers Theater, and we were about to have to close down because of race riots. We were having a meeting, and somebody was suggesting maybe we should do a play about race. But I'm looking out the window, and I see hordes of black teenagers shouting, walking in the streets shouting and throwing rocks. And I hear myself say, why don't we bring these teenagers into the theater and give them a voice? Well, and I'm excited because I think I could get Nat Adderley to do the music, and we could call it Jazz, Jam, and Jive. And, well, we did get the teenagers, 25 of them. And the Urban League supported the project, and that was great, but one of them objected to the word jive. So I said, okay, we'll call it Jazz, Jam, No Jive. And at the first rehearsal, I picked the safest thing I could think of to involve them in. And it's a little exercise called interview, like a late night interview. You could write down the 3 questions that you want to be asked. So I thought that's perfectly safe. That's a great one. And then they stand up in pairs and change cards. Oh, they've written down on index cards the 3 things that they want to be asked. Then they stand up in pairs, switch cards, and interview each other. The very first one up at the very first rehearsal says, "Welcome to Black Forum. I'm Sister Black-a-Lot, about to introduce my first black guest. Tell me, Mr. Buford, how did you happen to join as the first black member of the Ku Klux Klan?" Of because they said they'd whip my black you-know-what if I didn't join. So this was the kind of thing. I went from the church setting to this show. Well, when we were rehearsing that part to use it in the show, this was later, one of the cast members ran out and said, in protest, saying, "I can't believe you going back to this kind of stuff today. We don't need this." And so everybody else wanted to use that scene about the Ku Klux Klan. And so we used that scene, but we also used the protest. And this group, it's hard not to tell you more about the show, but this group insisted they wanted to portray the chokehold scene of a teenager, which was one of the main things that caused the riots. Okay, now, after this in Tampa, I've gotten sort of busy with Ivy Roll, the mountain woman story, and that is sort of pulling me toward Asheville. And Russell has changed from medicine to the ministry. And children are long gone from home. We moved to the mountains. And there, I have my first serious story circle. I have to tell you how this came about. There's a place called Haywood Street Congregation, and it's really, well, of course it's a mission to feed homeless people, but it's a lot more than that. You feed them with a lot of respect and really great food. And the people who help there are called, who are usually called volunteers, we call companions. Well, I served tables for a while, and then I noticed that the waiting room is a great big waiting room, but it's always filled with people who are waiting for the next serving of the next meal. And I realized they don't know each other at all. And so there's this big room, and I think, well, I have to do something about that. So I put on a sign that says, "Tell me your story." And of course, I don't get a big rush on that. I just get one person and your story, and I think, well, this is a lost cause. So I put another one on later, and it says, what was that one? Let's see. "What's up?" Spelled W-A-S-S-U-P. What's up? And that gets more people. But somehow that's when I have the idea of a story circle, the Native American kind, sitting in a circle and passing a stick. And that's when it starts, and it's a big, incredible hit from the very beginning. It's all ages and colors and backgrounds. There's one guy, for example, who tells about he's just been beaten up by the police and thrown naked into a big tank and left there for 3 days. He's just out, and he's come to Story Circle. And then there's also, in contrast, an elderly gentleman who's just come back from one of his Mississippi River boat trips where he portrays Mark Twain. Well, these two bond in a very special way. And I'm just using them as an example because that's the kind of thing that can happen in a story circle. So, gosh, where am I now? All right. Okay, in the meantime, that's been going for 3 years when Russell, my husband Russell, develops a terminal cancer. And what he's worried about the most right then is the fact that he's scheduled to lead the Lenten series they have Wednesday night programs during Lent, and he's to be leading them. And he doesn't want to give that up, but he just doesn't feel like putting it together. And I happened to mention this in their story circle at Haywood Street one day, and immediately I get a just unexpected response. We can go and tell our stories for those 3 meetings. And so I think, well, sure, this is what I've been, something like this might happen, that they would get a chance to tell outside of the story circle. But the other thing is, Russell was glad to have it because he knew I was involved a lot in that. And it was a wonderful occasion. And I have to say, the Episcopalians were flabbergasted. And I love that. Then the other thing was, the best thing about it is that I convinced Russell to add one more Wednesday night session where he would tell his story. I would do some prompting, and the others in the audience could ask questions. And my daughter Susan made a huge sort of collage of pictures of him from birth on up through now, at that then. And that was up, and Russell was there, and he was very weak. But I never saw him smile more to get to tell his story before he died. It doesn't happen often. Where am I? Okay, I'm moving to Columbia. That's where I am, where my daughter, we live in a very remote mountain spot that wasn't any staying there alone. So I moved to Columbia, where my daughter is nearby. And I got another story circle. And that was great. And I could tour from here until the pandemic. And that's when Jeff, my managing director, suggested that I write a book. And when I realized that I was about to be 90, I thought, might as well. What was the title of that thing? Oh, Much Ado About 90. And, but the story circle could continue because, where is he? Phil. Because Phil could Zoom it. And we kept it going, and it's still going. Okay, but I asked Phil to just give a notion of another thing that can happen from a story circle is you get something else going. Please tell Phil about you. Oops, thank you.
I didn't know I was going to be on. Yes, I have 4 brothers and sisters, and from every political persuasion, it's not only left and right, it's almost a circle around. And I came up with the idea of the pandemic as, well, let's meet on Sundays, and we've done it now for 2.5 years. And it's a story circle. We have a topic, and we meet. We do Since I Saw You Last is how we start our story circle with Barbara, and we do that with my family, with my siblings, and then we have a topic. And the topic that we're on right now, in fact, today, we meet at 2:30. We have people all the way across the country. Our topic today is, what was the world like when you were 50? What were you like when you were 50, and did it surprise you? And we actually started it last Sunday, got through 3 of us, took the whole time, and we have 2 more to go today. So because of Barbara, it bled over that story circle practice into my family, and it's been wonderful. So I thank Barbara for that.
Thank you, Phil. Now, just because I think it would be helpful I would like for any story circle members to stand and sort of look around, just so if somebody wanted to ask you personally about being in a story circle, what would that be like? Please, I see some of you. Oh, good, good, good. They don't need to talk. Oh, yes. Okay, good. All right, good. Yeah, right. Thank you. So that's somebody you could ask more about it. Now, here's the deal. I'm willing to help teach anybody who's interested in learning how to do a story circle. It's really simple, and I think if there were a group of us, we could pick one time, one major session that would do it. Plus, it has gotten out that I do have that book, Story Circles, which we could use that too. Anyhow, if you wanted to think about an evening one or something for young people or anything that you might be interested in having it at any time. Okay, now I want to ask Rebecca to stand and say something about what can happen further, because Rebecca is the one, I went to one of her ARE meetings, and it was through ARE and Rebecca that Story Circle even exists. Rebecca, could you please? I hope that one is on.
Yes, yeah. I just wanted to show you all that Barbara has a book. It's like, this is how it works, how it happens, and I'm going to be back at the back. If any of you are wanting to know more about Story Circle, I have a sign-up sheet. Just leave your email address with us, and we'll contact you and tell you. It's such a meaningful experience. I think you could speak to so many of us that just stood to say we look forward to it so much. And it's just an extension like family. So I encourage you all, if you're curious, come back after the service, and I'm going to be at the social hall with the table, and you can look at the book and see what's there. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And I want to say it's really just simply a how-to handbook, step by step by step, easy to follow. And I have a bunch on order that's not here yet, but any money that you want to give, any amount, if you want a book ever, it goes to UU. Everything about this goes to UU. I'm very interested that you take a look at Story Circles. Okay, I think I may have an official closing later, but then I'll repeat it. Is that okay? I want to ask you to repeat it because I think it's so important. And it's very short. And this is by a writer, Robin Moore. Inside each of us is a natural-born storyteller waiting to be released. Thank you.
And I think the appropriate thing to do after you tell stories is to sing a song. So we're going to do that. Now, this is number 346, and it's got its own verses, but at the end of the verses that are here, I'm going to have you do another verse. So at the moment, leaving your masks on, would you please stand, turn to number 346, and we'll do Come Sing a Song with Me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might your mind, and I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find, and I'll bring a song of love that blows in the winter time. Second verse. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. That I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home. The hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Okay, stay in there. Keep your mask on. We're going to do another verse. And this verse is going to say, come share a story with me. Share a story with me. Let's take that up a couple steps. Some of those notes are pretty low. Are you ready? Come share a story with me. Here we go. Come share a story with me. Come share a story with me. Come share a story with me, so that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in winter time. Wow. Thank you. You're a nice choir.
Oh, yes, okay.
Take your time.
I get to do the closing word one more time. Okay, here it is, what you just heard before. Inside each of us is a natural-born storyteller waiting to be released.
We extinguish this chalice at the end of our time here today. May its flame glow gently in our hearts and light our paths as we leave this place until we are here together again. May the blessings of truth be upon us. May the power of love direct us. And may the peace of this community sustain us till we meet This concludes our service. And thank you for joining us. You are welcome to stay and enjoy light refreshments. Please adjourn to the social hall, grab a drink, and go outside for snacks. I'd like to say special thanks to our visitors, Amanda, Susan Smith, Suri, Laura, Carol, Sam, and Aaron. Thank you.
Now I want to tell you about the postlude. This is a postlude that everybody has heard, and it is a postlude, which means you can leave if you want to, or if you want to listen in the background. But it's a piece called Heart and Soul, which many of you learned when you were kids. So how it relates to this is that these stories will warm your heart and soul. Take it away, David. Thank you, Sarah.